Today, I'm in bucolic Winter Park, visiting the Winter Park Library designed by Ajay Associates. The Winter Park Library system dates back to 1885, when the incorporation of a railroad and the Rollins College influenced 9 women to organize a lending library. At first, the base of the operation was on one of the founders' porch and hall on 503 Interlachen Avenue. Today, the address is home to the Women's Club of Winter Park. At this time, the public library served only white residents, and as a result, the Hannibal Square Library was founded in the heart of the Black community in the 1930s. A children's room was added in 1955, and the library remained a popular place for neighbors and organizations to meet. The Winter Park Public Library was integrated in 1962, and the Hannibal Square Library served all residents of Winter Park until its closure in 1979. Curiously, this piece of history is omitted in the official Winter Park Library history page. Eventually, a new library began construction in 1977, and in 1994, a third floor was added. By the 2010s, the city had grown enough in population and prosperity to pave the way for a new library. The new Winter Park Library sits right on the crown of MLK Park and Lake Medicine. Designed by Ajay Associates, the site contains 3 monumental buildings: the library, event center, and porte cochere. The event center contains a large ballroom in its center and a rooftop terrace. The buildings flare out of the ground in really cool outward angles and are also impressed by the soft arches that surround the facade. The architect was inspired by the local flora and compared this umbrella shape of the building to the shape of a palm tree erupting from the ground. I thought the material of the pavilion was pretty remarkable. From afar, it looks like a typical brown, but as you approach, it reveals this rose-pigmented concrete with shards of green slate. It's thoughtful and adds plenty of interest and texture. This building is a clinic in passive design. Ajay explains that the center between the library and the event center funnels wind in one direction, shades the walkway, and prevents people from getting wet in the rain, while still being totally open to nature.
And almost touch and almost create a kind of, when you're in the spaces in between that, a sort of sense of an interior, because you look up and you have these slices of sky, but you're very much in shade. Something that I do in my work, this idea of understanding the kind of airflow and the way in which we can climatically reduce the temperature. And those spaces are going to be 5 or 6 degrees cooler than the outside area, so they're dramatic in terms of outside temperature.
Another passive design element to the building is the angle in which it flares open to the sky. The designers sought a way to take advantage of the sunlight available in Florida by allowing tons of light to enter through the panoramic windows. However, this introduced the problems of increased cost of cooling to the building and glare that can be oppressive to patrons in the summer. The architect found a way to have the best of both. The deliberate angle of the building prevents too much direct sunlight exposure during the summer, while still allowing sun to slip in during the winter. This keeps the building cool in the summer and provides a welcome warmth and sunlight during the winter. Another architectural emphasis is in the idea of porosity, or fluidity of space. It was important for the city to have a library that is malleable and able to change based on the wants of its users. The library is lined with these cement benches where I saw plenty of people shooting the breeze and enjoying the weather. Between the library and the event center is this dramatic interlace of buildings where I saw people taking wedding photos. Between the rooftop terrace above the event center, MLK Park with its winding paths, and the amphitheater which practically slips into the lake, the public library felt bigger than it was, essentially elevating it from a building to a campus. The interior of the building is well conceived and in line with the trend of uses in a modern library. There's a makerspace and computer lab that is obviously well used by the community and hosts plenty of classes. The upstairs area is primarily for children and young teens, and it has areas with toys, puzzles, and goodie bags with crafts and tools for kids to take home. The Winter Park Library offers more events, classes, and get-togethers than I've ever seen a library offer. For adults who want a place to sit and read, and admittedly I fall into this category, you're kind of SOL. Not totally, as there are corners and benches along the perimeter where you can sit, but it feels neglected and almost like an afterthought. It's pretty distracting to sit here, especially with children being children above you and the foot traffic when you're sitting along the perimeter bench. Trends show that the modern user of a library is often there to use the equipment, like computer or printers, or to take a class or take part in an event. The Winter Park Library was built with fluidity in mind, which allows these spaces to transform and adapt to future trends of uses. My pastime, loitering, seems to have fallen out of vogue. The color and furniture of the interior of the library is invisible. Not really, it's sort of a sandy pink, gray, and purple. What I really mean is that it is unremarkable and has a transitional interior design. It looks exactly like a hotel lounge, and is a couple of Marshall home decor items away from being a game room of a luxury apartment complex. The ones with billiards, a gas fireplace, and an industrial Keurig machine. I understand why. The library is located in the middle of Winter Park, a suburb of Orlando and across the street from Trader Joe's. No hate to Mr. Joe, I just wish the interior was more bold and less trendy. I visited the library while the Phantasmicon convention was going on, which was a small-scale Comic-Con with music, small vendors, Minecraft in the computer room, and a Smash Bros. Tournament in the event space. If I was 15 years younger, I would have been all over this place, and it's pretty delightful to see the library become the space of celebration for kids without feeling like a Chuck E. Cheese or a daycare. I like the Winter Park Library a lot for its intentionality. Winter Park hired a world-renowned architect to design the space to telegraph its importance to their citizens. And I can appreciate the forward-thinking approach of malleable event spaces and giving opportunities for kids, tweens, and teens to play with toys, Minecraft, or learn how to code. I'm not the target demographic for this library. I'm not a child, and I'm not a parent. As someone who wants a pleasant place to unwind and study, this library is just okay for that purpose. But if you have children or are interested in the amenities offered here, this library is the best in class in its category.